And we are live. It is Thursday, May the 7th, 2020. This is YouTube's Chosen One. I'm here with Sam Samworth, prison guard, prison officer, HMP Strangeways. It has been a minute since we have last spoken. Mr. Samworth, how are you doing today? Or Sam, sorry. I know you don't like the Mr.
I'm good. I'm good, dude. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. Yeah, it's I was up and
You
at it
staying
early
frosty?
today. Say it again, Sam.
Staying frosty.
I'm staying very frosty, sir. And yeah, I was up and at it early this morning. Went for a walk. The weather's been really nice here recently. There was one day, I think 2 days ago, where it was like half the day where it was overcast, but then the sun came out. But yeah, how's the weather been over there, and how's the situation been over there, Sam, as far as
And
the
the
pandemic?
weather, it's supposed to be a nice weekend coming up. Still cold in the morning, but it has been quite pleasant. Rained a couple of times, but it's been pretty good. We're expecting a bit of an announcement on Monday from our Prime Minister. I don't think they're going to lift the lockdown. I'm hoping that maybe they say that if you want to go and see your loved ones, as long as you're doing the social distancing, like our lass's mum lives in Sheffield, which is 25 mile away. So, everyone's pretty much been sticking to the sort of recommendations. I'm just wondering when they're going to lax them a bit, but I don't think it's going to be a full on lifting of the lockdown. There is some shops, some of the bigger shops that have opened up, DIY shops and that, which they've got click and collect and social distancing still. So maybe they're gonna, open retail up a little bit or something like that.
Yeah, I
Well,
read today that here in Oregon, they're going to start opening up restaurants and bars with the condition that people distance and the staff wear masks.
really?
Yeah, so I thought that was interesting. But yeah, other than that, we haven't had any real changes other than the weather. It's just getting warmer as we head deeper into spring. But has the mood changed over there? The general collective mood
No,
of the
not really.
population?
We have we tend to have there's a press announcement. The government do an announcement every night, about an hour, different ministers, couple of medical staff, something like that. We watch that, listen to that. The rest of your media, trash. No time from mate. It's all
Hmm.
negative, all fear mongering. No time for it, none at all. So yeah, we're pretty much saying people. It's I don't want to use the word normal, but it's almost become sort of normal. Interestingly enough, I've been and seen a couple of my friends when I were walking the dog. When I say I've seen them, they live en route as I'm coming back with a dog. Yeah, there's various ways I can go and take him for his walk, and everyone appears to have put weight on. Um,
All your neighbors?
but I think everyone's just drinking alcohol.
This is water with caffeine. It's like
It's
sparkling
okay.
ice
You don't
water.
have to explain to me. If you want a crafty beer while we're chatting, I'm good with that.
So they're drinking.
Yeah, a
And
lot of drinking. Our
yeah,
local shop, it's only a little shop, said they're selling 3 or 4 times as much alcohol as they were before the lockdown, which is a lot.
wow, yeah, that is a lot, and that's interesting. Well, it's just something that everybody's noticed, that the alcohol shops are open everywhere. They're essential, I guess. Essential for the government, and the alcohol shop owners. But let's get into your book here, Sam.
Okay.
I've read more of it, and I'm reading other authors' books too as well. But I am deep into the chapter on the health wing unit
Yep.
that you worked on, which is quite a unit. And you speak about the nurses there and how they kind of get a bad rap from other officers for not being, I guess, tough enough, or you say macho enough. That's the word you use. Do you
Yeah.
want to talk about the health wing a little bit, and
Yeah.
whether or not we can get into the darker stuff, or we can save that for another podcast too, if you would like.
Yeah. Whatever. So, the healthcare wing. It's pretty much like any other wing on the jail. It's just another wing on the jail. Some of the cells are different. They have what they call safer custody cells. They're all single cells for a start. There's no double cells. Safer custody cells. If I could explain that, they used to be called anti-ligature cells, but they're not. You know, what they are is safer than a normal cell. There's no bars. You'd be hard pushed to find ligature points and things like that, even though people can. And also, they're a bit tougher or a bit less indestructible, because some of the mentally unwell people you have on there can be quite violent. Particularly, believe it or not, when you get people coming to prison, alcoholics, alcoholic detox is horrendous for 3 days. They can become very violent. They don't know where they are. They don't know what they're doing. So these cells are a bit more robust. Other than that, it's just another wing in the jail. Very cliche. Prison officers who used to come and work overtime, etc., always come out with the same sort of thing. You know, these nurses want to wake up. These nurses don't realize this isn't a hospital. This is a prison. Well, I'll tell you now, every single one of them, and there was a lot of young nurses, they were under no illusions who they were dealing with. We had some really dangerous individuals on there, probably far more than you'd find anywhere else in the jail. Mentally unwell, who can be extremely unpredictable. The levels of violence, strength, and things like that are incredible. We had some very high-profile rapists, child molesters, that sort of thing. So again, you have to be careful when you're dealing with them sort of people. Obviously, we have a lot of female staff.
Why were they on the health wing, Sam? Or is that where you just
Right,
kept
a
them?
high-profile prisoner. Here's the thing, Mr. Addy Ads. If you've got a really high-profile prisoner, they're in the news, everyone knows where they are, particularly if they were a Cat A prisoner, highest level of security. What they want is that prisoner going to court and standing trial. What they don't want is them harming themselves or anyone else harming them. So the healthcare is a very small unit, you know, where you can potentially keep somebody like that safer, easier than on a normal wing. So, you know, some very dangerous individuals. Not one of them nurses. Yeah, we call people by the first name, you know, de-escalation, mental health patients or whatever. Addy, how you doing? Good morning, Addy. Would like to shout that sort of thing, yeah?
Of course.
However, that doesn't mean that anybody took risks, anyone did anything stupid. The nurses were switched on than more than some of the officers I work with, you know. And with it being a small unit, you could keep an eye on everyone and make sure things were done in a safe manner. So if someone was particularly dangerous, they might well be on an unlock protocol, which will mean they only come out on their own and if there's a certain number of staff there. So, you know, no nurse was going up and letting anyone out or going in anyone's cell without a member of staff there. You know, it was a very, very safe place to work. There was very few serious incidents, which reflects on how professional the staff were. That's both nursing staff and the prison staff. And when I worked on there, we had no prison manager. Everywhere else, the next rank up is a senior officer. So every wing in the morning during the shifts would have a senior officer. On the healthcare, we were nurse manager led. So the nurses worked for a healthcare. They weren't employed by the prison.
Is that
And
NHS?
it was at one bit, and then it went out to some other private company. People put tenders in to run it. You know, put a budget in, a costing or whatever to run the healthcare. So safe place. We made it safe. People were very careful. We used the protocols properly. And despite the fact we called them patients and we used the first names, no one were under any illusions what we were dealing with at all. So I used to give them the old middle finger, you know, because they didn't work on there, you'll find this in life. People hear what other people say and then repeat it. So all the officers that come on there, these nurses need to understand this is a fucking prison or whatever. Go away. We knew what we were dealing with. Do you know what I mean? So it was good. It was as safe as it could be, and it was managed professionally. There you go. You can speak now.
Thanks, Sam. No, it's I just love listening to you share your experiences. They're so entertaining and informative, interesting, and yeah. So I find myself just forgetting that. Oh yeah, I need to respond because I'm just enraptured by what you're talking about. But yeah,
You're welcome.
oh yeah, thanks, Sam. I appreciate it. But yeah, it's a lot to unpack there. And what do you think of the fact that the nurses aren't necessarily officers, or they're in the same system? Do you think that's good or bad?
Well, they did debate at one bit training the nurses in control and restraint, like the prison officers, yeah.
Mm.
However, obviously the prisoners were all male. There was some big lads and that in there, and really, it was a good combination. It worked really well. When I first went on there, we had prison managers and nurse managers, and it didn't work. After a couple of years, we worked with less staff, less nursing staff, less managers, less prison officers, but it worked better. Everyone had good work ethics, and we just cracked on with it. So, it made it quite. And I'll tell you what as well. I'm not blowing my own trumpet. I were very careful, me. It don't matter who come on there. If somebody come on, yeah, and I were on shift, I'd be looking on their file, finding out the background. We used to get prisoners from other jails who've been in segregation units, shoe block, dangerous, violent individuals, and they
Could you
never want
just
healthcare.
briefly explain, because some people might not know actually what a block or a seg is. What is the segregation unit?
Segregation unit, all single cell, restricted regime. A day you would get offered a shower, a phone call, an hour's exercise. You might well come out and collect your meals, and that's it. So it's pretty much 23-hour bang up. No association. If you had 2 exercise yards, you might have 2 prisoners, one on each, talking, but there's no association. It's usually for punishment, taken away some of your privileges or whatever if you've maybe been assaultative, or using drugs or whatever, something like that. So
Gotcha.
can be a violent place, can be quite unpredictable.
Got you. Yeah, it's a good explanation for those who may have just encountered that word, or have heard it before and don't know what it is. But yeah, and I've read you talked about prisoners getting alcohol withdrawals, and yeah, you can actually die from alcohol withdrawals, from what
Oh
I've
yeah,
read.
very, 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 very dangerous.
Yeah, it's the
We actually
worst
had a
drug to get withdrawals from, besides
yeah,
maybe
well,
heroin. Yeah.
no, heroin, not as bad as alcohol.
Yeah, because you can't die from heroin withdrawals, can you? I don't think so.
No, you'd be rough. You'd be really rough.
Yeah.
But the other one, as well as alcohol, which you didn't see many people dependent on, were benzodiazepines.
Mm.
A lot of them are prescription drugs. Horrendous detox, far worse than coming off heroin.
Oh
But the
wow.
alcohol ones, yeah, obviously, we had a detox wing, but those that come in rattling, literally, they might have had the last drink 24 hours ago. They'd be on healthcare. They used to get vitamin injections in the backside, extremely painful, because obviously, nutrient-wise, alcoholics are like, rock bottom. So
Yeah.
they get B vitamins and things like that. They get drugs that would help them with the shakes and perhaps sedate them a little bit. Sometimes, you might give them buckets full of diazepam, try and calm them down or whatever. But certainly 2 or 3 days, and like you said, very dangerous. You're not just sticking someone in a cell and leaving them, because they would die.
Yeah, they would.
They would hallucinate. not know where they are, see spiders, things like this. It always amused me that a lot of them, and I don't mean the detox amuse me, it's quite horrific watching someone detox from alcohol. However, quite often when they're hallucinating, they would see spiders. And I don't mean just one prisoner, lots of them had described, seeing spiders or whatever. So obviously that'd freak you out if you're in a cell and it was just full of spiders. So yeah, it's quite a bad detox. Might be with us a week, and then they'd probably go to the detox wing.
How long does that take them to well, as far, and I don't know if you would know this, Sam, but do most of them survive that detox, the alcohol
Oh yeah,
detox?
definitely.
Yeah. How long does that take usually for them to survive that, or
They're
to get
usually
through it?
really, really rough for 2 or 3, or maybe 3 or 4 days. They probably stay with us maybe a week. Get them nice and calm or whatever. The alcoholics, a lot of the alcoholics that come in, often went out of prison reasonably healthy. You'd see them put weight on, and obviously they look pretty rough when they come in, but a lot of
Yeah,
them have put weight on whatever. But,
eating more. Yeah.
I remember seeing one lad in reception who we'd had on healthcare. So he'd done his detox on healthcare, been in a couple of months, and I was on overtime in the morning. So he was actually leaving the prison that day, done his sentence. We spoke and that. I saw him, I don't know, less than 48 hours later, not far from the prison, just back where he was, hammered, disheveled, just sort of drinking from a bottle, didn't know where he was, that sort of thing. So,
Man, that's sad.
the time to get them people, addicts who are clean, which not a lot come out clean, addicts, alcoholics, that sort of thing, is as they walk out of prison. If you're going to do any work with them, that's when you need to get them, because, they get a grant when you leave prison. I'm not sure what it is now. Don't quote me on it. You can get travel grants and that, if you live somewhere else, to get train fare. But prisoners were getting about £96, so maybe $110, yeah. So, your alcoholic, you know what they do? They go down onto Deansgate, just down from the prison, where all the posh bars are, and you've got your off licenses where they sell beer. They just go and buy beer and get hammered. First, no meal, no phoning anyone, no seeing anyone. Straight down onto Deansgate, spend the money, away you go. So very sad.
Yeah, that is sad. And as far as when they get registered into healthcare, I would guess that happens right after they get arrested, right?
Yeah, they'll come to prison and they'll come from reception. Sometimes, they actually, we've had them bypass reception because they're not, they're off their heads or whatever.
Oh, they're that
The
out of it.
reception process, when you come into prison, you would be interviewed, you'd see a doctor, any property with you get checked, and then you'd be allocated a wing where you were going to live. Obviously, if they were detoxing, they might be in a cell, they might get brought straight to healthcare, straight in a cell, and away you go. Because, like I said, it can be quite violent.
Does it ever happen where somebody gets registered for alcoholism and they've already been in the prison? Or no? I would imagine no, because it's hard to get a hold of hooch for that much hooch, right?
Say that again. I missed that bit. So you mean has anyone ever been caught drinking in the prison?
No, I didn't mean that. So has anyone, let's say, they get caught for a crime, assault,
Oh yeah,
whatever. They've
yeah.
been in prison a year and then they become an alcoholic in prison and then they have to go to healthcare. Does that ever happen?
No.
No. Okay. That would be my guess. But yeah, let's talk about hooch in prison. That's what you guys call it in England, right? Or is that
Yeah,
just the States?
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. Okay.
Nasty stuff.
A lot of incidences of that more so than spice, or which one do you see more?
No. It used to be when I first started in the private sector. Right, spice was like, in someone's imagination or whatever. Some heroin use, some cannabis use, not many social drugs. Not not coke or anything like that.
Social drug.
So coming up to Christmas time, prisoners would make hooch, obviously. Nasty tasting. I think the highest percentage we ever recorded, because what they would do if they come to your cell and we found hooch, you'd be placed on report and you'd have to go in front of a governor and explain yourself, yeah. And you could get punishment. You could get sent to the segregation or the block for that for a period of time. So when it used to come, what we had to do was in the segregation, because it's evidence, make sure that it had a content, you know, that was the evidence. So if it just looked like orange, you could say it was just orange juice. So however they used to test it, the strongest was about 26%.
Wow.
Well, yeah.
Pretty strong.
And in the private sector, I found a father and son, the father's brother and a friend in a cell, and they reckoned they had drunk. It was round about, I can't remember in litres now, round about 16 pints.
Wow.
Between the four of them of 20-odd%, you know. So you're looking at what, five or six bottles of wine quantity, but at 20-odd%.
Yeah, that's
they
like
were in a state.
strong
They were in
sake.
a state.
Yeah. Wow.
You know, one of them died.
Alcohol.
One of them died in hospital of alcoholic poisoning.
The father did?
No, I think it was the brother.
Oh, okay.
Shall I tell you something about, you know, when you do the book, there's lots of things that are still very clear to me. Some things become less significant, you know, once you put them out there. So if you were asking me about individual prisoner, I could tell you what he was like, what he behaved like, every incident. But some of the other stuff sort of, it's still there, but you just don't remember it as accurately as you did, if that makes sense.
So what Sam is saying is that people should go to Amazon or Waterstones and buy Strangeways, a prison officer's story by Neil Samworth. Book available now on Amazon and Waterstones. And I still haven't received it because I don't know. I dropped Amazon Prime, Sam, a couple years ago now, just because I wasn't using it enough. Like I wasn't buying enough things on Amazon to warrant having it. So I lost my fast shipping, but it should be here really soon, and I'm really excited because I much prefer reading books with that tactile experience, as I may have mentioned before. You know, having that physical book is
definitely
the best experience, I think, for reading. So I'm excited to add another author to my collection, my library, and I'm definitely gonna show it up on the next podcast I can, as soon as I do get it. But as I said, I was delving more into your book on the EPUB version and talking about the healthcare system. How long were you there, Sam?
On the healthcare?
Yeah. Or the healthcare wing, excuse me.
November 22nd, 2008 to August 13, 2015. How's that for you?
That is very accurate. Wow. That's quite the memory, Sam. Why do you remember that so well?
The day I moved on, the previous night, one of the officers who worked on there was killed going home from work. No, sorry. It was in the morning on ice. It was winter. And he was in a collision with a bus and he ended up dying. So that made that quite significant. And August 13, when I left, you know, it was a sad day, really. I left a lot of my friends on there, but it had changed too much. And now how it was, I would just, you know, I would have ended up as one of the mental patients that were going. It would just, I was working with people who were on there and they saw it as an easy number to leave people locked up all day and sit in the office. Every day used to have an early shift. Yes, somebody who was designated to come in early so that the night staff could go home. These people got poor work ethics and they were clueless and they weren't my kind of people. So most of my time on healthcare, small number of staff who I considered most of them to be my friends, good work ethics. Once we got a change of workforce, it wasn't the same. So it was a sad day when I moved off, really. So I obviously remember that as well.
It's interesting how, those significant events or even random events can help us to remember certain days in our lives and even the dates.
Oh,
But
definitely.
but especially those, extremely significant events. But yeah, as far as alcohol and other drugs on the healthcare wing,
Yeah.
which is the most common, I guess, abuse disorder or substance did you see there? Maybe the top three, if you could answer that, because it changes at times, doesn't it? Depending on what's
Well,
available.
here's the thing. If people are in a bad way from reception, that could be with anything. We didn't usually get heroin addicts unless they were in a really bad way. They used to go to the detox wing. What had happened is they come into reception, see a doctor. I don't know whether they used to do just a dip test. So they'd like give a urine sample, dip it, make sure that they were heroin in the system. They weren't trying to blag. And they would give them a standard dose of methadone, which is heroin replacement. And then they'd go to the wing so that they'd add something so they weren't rattling. So really, on healthcare, they were nothing specific. People used to come on there physically unwell. We had quite a few people with cancer who were cared for by the nurses on there. You get, obviously, like we've already said, people who were withdrawing from alcohol, just starting to. We get mentally unwell people. So it weren't so much somewhere where people would come for drug issues,
Right.
And you used to get people in who were quite high or whatever. They just go to the detox wing,
Yeah.
and away you go, really. So
What is the difference between because you got the health wing and the detox wing, right?
right, detox. I knew you were going to ask that. Detox wing is like any other wing in the jail, but they give out loads of medication on there. So when they said detox wing, nobody detoxes, are they?
That's the
They don't
opposite.
want to. They
It's a
don't want
tox
to.
wing.
The government don't understand this. Yeah, we're giving people methadone, yeah, instead of heroin. Have you seen methadone?
I haven't. I know it's legal in some European countries for heroin
Right.
addicts. It's illegal
It's a
here, though.
green, sticky liquid that's got a nasty smell. When you look at it and you're putting that in your body, you know, in layman's terms, what methadone does, it's supposed to stop sort of the withdrawal symptoms, but also it stops the cravings, or it's supposed to. But what it also does, again, I'm not a doctor, but in layman's terms, the longer you're on it, the more it saturates your body. And it can significantly lower your heart rate and blood pressure. So particularly when people are first put on methadone, they're monitored regularly by the nurses. For me, it's a waste of time in prison, because a lot of deaths in custody that we've had that have been drug related, when people take methadone, they don't take anything else, right? Wrong. People who take methadone as a heroin substitute, they'll still take heroin, they'll still snort coke, they'll take anything they can. They'll take tablets, antipsychotics off somebody who needs them. They'll take them off them. They'll take tramadol, painkillers, they'll take anything. So you can imagine that is a really dangerous combination. People are taking anything, smoking, snorting, yeah, and they'll still take the methadone. So
So it just turns into another drug for them to use essentially
Correct.
and get
Correct. Let me
addicted
tell you what used to happen when I first started in the private sector. They didn't have a methadone program. They used to have what they call DF11H, yeah? Little tablets, detox. I don't know how many you used to take, but if you were an heroin addict, you come into reception, you go on the induction wing, which had a separate wing for detoxing. You go behind your door, you'd stay behind your door pretty much 5 to 7 days. You'd have these DF11H that help stop you rattling. Have you seen anyone coming off drugs, heroin withdrawal?
No, I in the Midwest where I grew up, I mean in Milwaukee it's a problem, but I moved out of there when I was quite young, and where I kind of grew up, it was more so meth. So you don't
Right.
really see
Okay.
needles or anything.
So heroin, physical sickness, symptoms, um, shakes, bad shakes. You don't particularly want to eat anything or anything like that. It can be a rough few days. On these DF11Hs, like I said, 5 to 7 days, bam, they're off. They've done the rattle. That's it now. No methadone for months, because people who come in on methadone, they can be in prison 3 years on that, as well as taking their other shit. So they've done a week, yeah. You can still get heroin in prison, but a lot, they start eating and start using the gym. And you used to see lads come in, majority of them, there'll always be a percentage who will still use drugs inside, but majority of them, they come in, put weight on, use the gym, they interact with you. They won't be sneaky and that or whatever, sneaking about the prison. And they'd leave in a pretty healthy state. Again, that's is when you need to get them. Since methadone started, you don't see anyone come in. You don't see them put weight on. You might get the odd one using the gym. They come in and go out looking exactly the same. Unkempt. They look like addicts. It might be
Yeah,
cliched that, and people might not like that, but they come in
that's
looking
true.
rough,
Yeah.
skinny, and that's how they go out. So for
When did
me,
they? Yeah, go ahead, Sam.
when did they bring methadone in?
Yeah, when did that happen?
The private sector, round about maybe 2003, 2004. The public sector, a little bit later. It's all to do with human rights and that. Yeah. I've seen people who don't know, who haven't worked in prison, who haven't seen people taking methadone and other things in prison, haven't seen people who died because they're taking heroin and methadone, which work opposite. They're going about human rights and it's unfair to let people rattle and withdraw, but they don't see the consequences of it. For me, do away with it. Go back to your DF11Hs or whatever. And
What
it's
is in those? Do
incredibly.
you know, Sam? In those
Say that
pills?
again.
In the
If
DF11Hs?
you look it up, it'll tell you.
Yeah, let me
It's
look it up real
it's just
quick.
that's like I don't know whether that's its trade name or what
Yeah,
people knew it as.
here I can pull it up, and that reminds me to pull up these tweets too, which I can do after it. So it's called dihydrocodeine.
That's possibly it. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, Semi-synthetic opioid analgesic. And let me share the screen. I got trusty old Wikipedia.
There you go. It's got some
Yeah.
opioid in it, so that'll help with withdrawal. Analgesic for pain. So makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, so it's yeah, very similar to
I'll tell you something else about methadone program. Yeah, I've seen people come off methadone, start using heroin again, and then they have to put them back on a methadone detox, and they've done that 2 or 3 times. You're obligated to offer this product.
yeah.
So
Do you think
for
that will
me,
change, Sam? Because I actually read that's interesting you share that opinion because I remember reading that methadone actually has helped people in England with their heroin addiction, but you don't think that's true in the
right,
context of prison.
these people, these chemists all over the country where people go every day and get a methadone, yeah. Certainly in prison, it does nothing. It doesn't stop people using. It doesn't do anything. Maybe on the out, some people it does. I don't know. Maybe then people take the methadone and still use other things. So I don't know. But do a bit of research. I always like to give a bit of research. Look at Portugal, not now. Look at their heroin problem and what they did. Because what they started doing, they started giving pharmaceutical grade heroin to addicts. Yeah. Because they got that bigger problem. Initially, usage went up, but they've been doing it over 10 years, I think now. Heroin use went down, less addicts, less crime. So the answers are out there, mate.
Let's look at this video, Sam. Looks like I already pulled it up. This is a woman who is a Wisconsin Supreme Court justice. She's on the Wisconsin State Supreme Court. And this came across my timeline on Twitter. So let me make sure the audio is rooted. Give me one moment.
I think I saw it.
People. Did you? Yeah. And let's I got another one I want to show you too. Let's share this, and I should be able to hear it.
Delegation of legislative power.
Let me go to the beginning.
That we're hearing justifying the secretary's order in this case is that, well, it's a pandemic and there isn't enough time to promulgate a rule and have the legislature involved with determining the details of the scope of the secretary's authority. I'll direct your attention to another time in history, in the Korematsu decision, where the court said the need for action was great and time was short. And that justified, and I'm quoting, assembling together and placing under guard all those of Japanese ancestry in assembly centers during World War II. Could the secretary, under this broad delegation of legislative power or legislative-like power, order people out of their homes into centers where they are properly socially distanced in order to combat the pandemic? One of the rationales that we're hearing.
So that is, she's basically talking about the stay-at-home order and comparing it to internment of Japanese in the period of the Second World War. And there also was this incident here, which I don't believe we've talked about, Sam, similar to some incidents that have been happening in your neck of the woods. And this is also in Wisconsin as well, actually. And I was very surprised to see this because it is not only shocking to an extent, but it's also in the country, which is kind of confusing because it's something you would expect to happen more so in the city than anywhere else. This kind of behavior from police officers. So let's just watch this real quick and share this.
Hi. I'm Deputy Everhart with the Sheriff's Department. So are you aware that we're in a stay-at-home order right now?
Yeah, obviously.
By the government?
Yes, I am aware.
Okay, you're aware of that?
I am aware.
So I don't need to explain that to you?
No, you don't need to explain that to me.
I can if you need me to.
Go. You can because your officer was just here 2 weeks ago.
Okay, do you need me to explain it to you?
And he explained it to me that you guys weren't enforcing that order.
Oh, we're about to.
Okay.
But you understand it though?
Okay, so why are you here?
Because your daughter is going to play at other people's home and you're allowing it to happen.
They were over here as well. So okay. Are you here?
They've been talked to.
Okay.
So
no, I understand. Okay.
And so either you can acknowledge it or you can argue.
I'm acknowledging it.
Okay. Stop having your kid go by other people's home.
Okay. I acknowledge it. Anything else?
Nope. That was it. Apparently there was some other.
I acknowledged it. I acknowledged it.
Good.
Anything else?
Yeah. I need your last name. Amy, what's your last name?
I'm not. Is there a reason you're asking for it?
I'm adding you to the screen so we can document that we had contact with you.
Is there a reason for it?
Yep, because you're violating a state order, which is a.
If you let me finish, that's what I'm explaining to you. Because you're violating an order.
I haven't violated an order.
We're gonna have documentation in our screen with your name because we're here talking to you about that you said you just acknowledged.
Okay.
So then there's documentation.
I would like to see the law that requires me to give you that information.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So that, yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that there, Sam?
Honestly, I think the police I'll tell you what I think about it. I think the police, like the prison service and jobs like that now, they've got young staff and they're not experienced, not necessarily them officers there. There's a way of doing things, you know. It's almost like people have lost the skill of speaking. You know, they don't have no communication skills or anything else. And, you know, it's almost like they're trying to show their authority or whatever. Well, what is happening over here is if the police are going to be petty about things, I mean, we've had them in supermarket aisles. We've had them determining themselves, you know, what shopping you can buy or what they think are essential items and all manner of other things. For me, you know, if the majority of people are behaving, if there's no raves in town centre and stuff like that, then go about your business. You know, it's almost they don't seem capable of letting something go or using common sense. That's what it is for me. You know, these people I know who are in prison and officers who I'm talking to are either just left, still in prison. They're setting on lots of young people who are inexperienced. They don't know how to talk to people. They're not being mentored, and it's just making the whole thing worse. And when you see police, it's almost like everyone is sort of trying to be politically correct. But it's almost as well that, you know, you can't have one person talking. Everyone's got to say their little bit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting you noticed that, Sam, because I thought it was just a thing that most people do. I mean, I don't know, like,
You know, there's no need as an officer. If one of my colleagues, Nobby Nobbler, good lad, let's just say he's having a bit of a go with a guy who's getting a bit arsey, I'm not going to go right up on his shoulder in his face like this. You know, I might just sort of casually stand over here. You know, I'm close enough if it kicks off or whatever, but I'll let him deal with it.
yeah.
If it gets betting a bit on top, then I might interject. You know, what you been like that with him for? He's trying to explain to you. There's no. That's how you work. Where now they all seem to, you know, they're having a bit of a chip. It's
Hmm.
almost like they can't deal with something on their own, and common sense is going out the window. But for me, it'll come back on people. I don't agree with this. We have over what we call over here now PCSOs. Yeah, so you've got police who have powers of arrest, etc., and then we have PCSOs who are they work with the police, but they don't have the same powers. All they are is like a presence. Yeah, similar uniform. People know who they are. And what we've just had, I don't know whether it was on where it was on Twitter. This guy's been surrounded. Quite a lot of them now are on mountain bikes, you know, to get about. This guy's been surrounded, and these youths have taken his mountain bike while filming it. So this poor guy stood there, you know, there might be 7 or 8 or even more youths. They've pinched his mountain bike and they're abusing him. So I don't agree with that, you know, but on the other hand, people need common sense.
Wait, could you
You know,
explain that again, Sam? What happened exactly?
one of these PCSOs who works for the police force, but they don't have same powers, the same authority as a policeman, is being filmed in a park, and these youths are around him filming, and they've taken his mountain bike off him because he's on his own, and then they're taking the pee out of him, you know, mocking him and that.
Just
So I
from
don't agree
citizens
with that. Well, people are a lot of people, youngsters, have no respect for police. When I grow up, I had respect. However, if the police carry on behaving in the way they are, being petty with people, then everyone will lose respect for them, and then they will struggle because they are in the minority.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had two the other day. I was walking Steve. If I posted a picture where he has, it's an old coal mining site, yeah? So I'm right in the middle of it, bracken, trees. You know, if you see anybody else with dogs or whatever, the social distancing so easy. It's beautiful. It's sunny. We're taking our hours exercise. And these two were walking up there, two police. So they started walking behind me, but they can't walk as fast as me. We walk fast. Anyway, one of them said to me, "Can I ask you what you're doing?" So I looked at Steve, who is obviously a dog, and just walked on by. Do you know what I mean? It was just what I would have expected is something like, "You're right, yeah, you," or pleasantries, not asking me what I was doing in middle of a field with trees and that with my bloody Labrador dog. So
Yeah, I mean, the only thing you can do is laugh at it. Otherwise, you just get mad, I feel. Or
I
I
tell you
think.
what, I tell you what, hang fire. You might have seen this police, right? Old-fashioned policemen and people who've been in a long time don't have to show authority. They know I've got authority, but also they're used to dealing with people like as an officer I was. Yeah. So they have them skills. New ones, they don't have that, and it's going to cause problems because if you can't talk to someone, they're going to end up in bother. And I think a lot of them also, police like prison officers, it's not about physical size or presence, but it's a contact sport at the end of the day. If you're a police officer, sometime you're going to be in a wrestle, a fight, or whatever with somebody. So for me, this new breed of police officers, and I'm sure I'm not on my own in saying this, they don't have the skills, the communication skills, the life skills, or anything else. And also, I don't think they've got anything to back it up. I don't think, prison officers now, I'll tell you what's happening a lot. New prison officers, when there's an incident, what used to happen, everyone would go to that incident, the staff on that wing, deal with it. Staff who later come onto that wing would put the other prisoners away, yeah? What's happening now is an officer's getting into confrontation and maybe a wrestling match. Some of their colleagues are going the other way, going into an office and locking themselves in, putting themselves in a sterile area. They're actually being told if they fear for their safety that they should put themselves away from harm. But that's never going to work. End of the day, it's a contact sport and
It's
you need
also
to
a team
support each
sport,
other.
right,
And you need
Sam?
to support each other.
Yeah, it's a team sport too, right?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw this video that I posted, Sam. If you didn't, that's quite all right. Did you see it? This one?
Which one?
Here,
No,
I'll
I
share it.
haven't seen it.
I won't play the whole
I'm gonna
thing,
turn around.
but
I gotta go to the grocery store.
I'm just
Writing utensils,
talking about Pepsi Watson.
and I need,
Oh yeah.
need to write Pepsi Watson update. John Wedger T-shirt.
So at this point,
I just fucked up my hair, didn't I?
a cop showed up and is driving along, not right next to me, but kind of like straight in front of me and to the like kitty corner to the left of me,
Yeah.
and just driving really slowly alongside me.
So
And
if you're interested,
I don't say anything
me or
about it
John
right away.
about that. I'm actually gonna make my own design too.
So I'm talking about this
And-
T-shirt for Pepsi I'm gonna make.
Yeah.
That way people have some choices to make, some some variety in how they want to support Pepsi. But yeah, it's gonna say like hashtag free Pepsi Watson. I have his face on it. I don't know, but John's, I think he already posted his actually. So I'll show you mine. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's driving now. He's been there for like 10, 15 seconds. So at this point, I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I start staring at him, and I'm just looking at him. I'm just walking, just looking at him, still driving, nothing, and just waiting for them to make a move, because I'm not about to instigate something, and that's probably, I don't know, maybe that's what they wanted. I'm not really sure. I don't want to assume I know what they're thinking, but they're still following me. They've been following me for about almost a minute now.
Is there anyone on the street beside you?
No, it's just me. I'm in a residential area, and that's the thing too, Sam, is I didn't tape around, and I actually had my cell phone. I didn't have my GoPro, so next time I'll, if something happens, I'll know what to do. But I'm still walking, just so they've been following me for a little over a minute now, and let me skip ahead because it's.
I tell you a good point as well.
Yeah, what's that, Sam?
YouTube now is educating people.
Yeah.
There's lots of people who will tell you traffic laws and things like that. So people now are seeing them. So when police are stopping them, like that lady, stop you, can you tell me where you live? I don't have to provide that information. Why are you stopping me? What's the reason you've stopped me? It's all over. All these videos are all over YouTube. You don't have to get out of your car and get in a police's car and all these sort of things. And people are starting to get knowledgeable. And they're also filming. Now everyone's got a phone.
Yeah.
So if they're concerned, they're putting the phone on or they're asking somebody else to phone.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I was already recording, and it was actually a residential area. And to answer your question, Sam, was I alone? I was. I walked in. That's why I was walking there, is because it was quiet and I was walking away from the highway. So, and then I turned around and it came up behind me. So, yeah, let's continue watching. I just wanted to show a few more seconds because they end up yelling at somebody else. So at this point, I'm walking towards the main road, and I'm starting to see people now because there's more traffic.
Back that way, turning this way.
So then they start harassing that guy. I don't know if yeah. So you can't really see him, but there's a guy walking on the other side of the street. So they kind of diverted their attention from me to this guy, and I don't know if you heard him, but he's like, I was walking back that way. Now I'm going this way. I'm just trying to enjoy the day. And then they take off, and yeah, they drive away. So see, I'm going back towards the main road, so there's more traffic. There's people biking and stuff. But where I was coming from when they started following me, it was just me. And I didn't explain that fully.
That was really weird. I should have got that plate number.
I think a lot of it's embarrassing.
Yeah, it was just.
See, me, this is just me. If I've been in a car, I'm a cop, and you're walking like that, and you look suspicious or whatever, I'd have just come up at the side window. You all right? Yeah. Nice day, yeah. Where you at shopping? Okay. Just a little chat. Or just ask you whether you're all right or something. A bit of interaction. It's almost like they're losing the ability to communicate with people. I can see if it carries on going, there'll be a big distrust amongst the public.
Yeah, I mean, I've just learned not to call them, really, Sam. I mean, the times that I have, I don't know. It seems like they just make the situation worse, And I'm not just saying police in general. I'm saying
my mate's just left. He's been in 20 years. He was intending stopping another. I think he could have done 30 years if he'd have wanted. You can retire at 25 or whatever. I think he can full. I'm not sure, but he wasn't planning on cutting that career short. But he said the last couple of years, he just finds he's watching his back, either in situations that could be volatile and looking round and, people are going and getting in cars out of way and stuff like that. Or, I remember a prison governor, right? We had a prisoner he was quite violent. I did know him. And he looked like kicking off anyway. I got him behind his door. When he got to his door, he's got his hands on the door. So it's like, right, get behind your fucking door. Yeah. And we had this conversation. And then he goes behind the door and it was sorted. And I was asked to go to this governor's office and he was kicking off, telling him to fucking get behind this, that, and the other. I said, listen, do you know that guy? No. I says, well, I do. I know what he's like. We have, knowledge or whatever. And I was also in charge of that situation. At the end of the day, he went behind his door without a restraint. At one day, it looked like one bit looked like we're going to restrain him. And, it's just being able to communicate and read things.
So the governor was yelling at one of your coworkers, and
no, me, because I swore at a prisoner.
What? So the governor got mad at you because you swore.
Listen, let me tell you now. There's some of these groups out there, these reform groups and things, that think you should be calling everyone Mister and things like that. First thing, it's not going to happen. It's like they don't have no understanding of the animal. I've told you, 95% of prisoners did the time, got on with it. Yeah, I never had no problem with prisoners. Whatever level it went to, you had to deal with that or whatever. However, just calling someone Mister is not going to make a tat's difference. Most of them probably won't want to be called Mister. And on the other hand, when I work with the young offenders, if they were just me and them, they call me Sam, Sambo, Samo, which I didn't mind. Yeah. 1-to-1. If there was another member of staff there they didn't know, they call me Mr. S or Mr. Samworth. Again, I never wanted anyone to call me Mr. It's just how it happens. In fact, now I'm having trouble with some of my friends now who are ex-customers, because when I'm talking to them, they're always calling me Mr. S. You're right, Mr. S. Sam. Call me Sam. Mr. S, this, Mr. Samworth. This is talking on street. I said, I'm not a prison officer. Just call me Sam. It's fine. I quite like it. So, that's a bit of institutionalism and that, but sometimes it's a bit of respect as well. So,
yeah, and that situation with the governor, it just kind of shows how out of touch he was with the boots on the ground.
Prison service problems. A lot of young staff, they're not getting chance to bed in. They're not working with experienced staff because they're thin on ground now to see how it operates. A lot of prison management are very young. A lot are ex-university, fast track. So they go from uni, officer, senior officer, principal officer, governor in a couple of years, and they're being put in charge of prisons and they are clueless. Again, can't talk to people. If you can't talk to people, you have no right managing any position in any job in the world. Communication is the easiest thing. The times, and these levels of communication, I always work like that. If I've got a problem with another officer, I go and speak to them. If it's not getting sorted, then you have to go to someone above you to mediate and sort it out. If they won't sort it, in the prison service, I'd have an argument with you. You go to a governor, and governor would be giving me a bollocking without listening to other side of argument. It used to happen all the time. It's just basics. People need to talk to each other more. Yeah. And a good manager just needs to look after his staff and care for them. That's all you need. So.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate to see that disconnect between, I guess the military analogy would be the commissioned officers and the enlisted men, right? And
correct.
There's a disconnect between the knowledge of what's actually happening and the mood of the workers. Then it's going to negatively affect the whole organization because of the top down effect.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that. I've worked under 4 prison governors, number ones. They're the main man. They run the jail, It's their jail. 4, all very different, but all very good. And not necessarily liked by everyone, but respected. And when the jails were run by them, they were run well. We had 2. One was going out, Chris Sheffield at Strangeways, well respected, been in the prison service a long time, and took over from him with Richard Vince, who is quite high up in the prison service. Again, very different men. respected, not necessarily liked by everyone, but respected. After that, we must have had half a dozen governors in 3 or 4 years. Boom, morale and everything straight down. People who thought they were something special. You know, communication is the biggest thing, mate. If you can talk to people, you can achieve anything. Definitely. And it's a basic skill that a lot of young people haven't got now. They don't know. I'll tell you why. They're on phones, tablets, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. You know, it's not proper communication, is it? You know, sit down like we are, chat for an hour about anything and everything. You know, it's that sort of thing. And that's what's missing now, sort of your police, prison front and things like that. Definitely.
Wow, well said, Sam. And I think when you write your memoirs, you should have that quote. If you can talk to people, you can achieve anything. Or whoever writes
second book.
Yeah.
So I get that into my second book.
Yeah, definitely, Sam. You gotta get in there somewhere. Maybe, front, back, middle, or maybe a spot in a chapter at the end of a chapter or something like that, depending on how you organize it. But yeah, I think that's a great concept and one that is, it's lost by a lot of people. But like you said, there's the other side of the coin too, of you can't force people to do that, and to think that you can force people to be polite or to be nice or to be kind it's authoritarian and totalitarian, and that's just as bad as being a jerk, right? So let's end on that note, Sam. We've been chatting for an hour, and great episode.
I've enjoyed our chat today very much.
Yeah, I think it's the best one we've had in a while, and we should do it again.
When do you want to chat again? What day is it? I don't even know what day it is, mate. Thursday.
You know what's funny about that, Sam, is I had that exact same thought yesterday.
It's toss, innit? You've got no routine. Every day is the same.
Yeah. I woke up and I was like, dude, I have no idea what day it is today. And I was thinking, I was like, yo, I'm getting used to not knowing what day it is. Like the only reason I know differences in days sometimes is because of the weather's different or the weather changes. It's like, okay, maybe 2 days ago it's cloudy, today it's sunny again. But tomorrow I got a few interviews in the morning.
Oh, you've just told me that. Do you want to do Saturday or Sunday?
Whatever will work for you better, Sam.
Okay, I'll message you. We'll have a chat. Did you go on YouTube and have a look at young David?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about David.
No, let's keep that. Let's keep that one for a while, yeah.
Okay, I'll save that. I'll do some more research too, because that documentary, I haven't seen the whole thing yet. There's a Strangeways documentary. I think there's actually 2 of them out there.
The really old one, it's a bit crap.
Yeah.
The oldest one is old, and the newest one, someone's just like copy and pasted bits of pictures and stuck it together. It's a shit documentary.
Oh, really?
The best one come out in 2011, but the company went broke. Not doing that, but when the company went broke, they took it all off YouTube and that. That was a 3-parter when I was there. That's not why it was good, by the way. But
why did they take it off YouTube?
Because I don't know, something to do with copyright and the company going broke. But the clips of David that you'll have seen are from that documentary, 2011. So we'll save that.
But yeah, and whatever docs I do find, I'll try to put them in the description box of this particular video. And another thing too, Sam, is I'm going to go back in all of our chats and put in your Facebook link too, because I have only been putting your Twitter link so people can check Sam's Facebook page out and his Twitter page as well.
Let me tell you where I'm at, shall I?
Yeah. Do you have any others?
I'm just at the minute. I'm going to set up. I've purchased a couple of domains. I'm going to set up a blog page. We've got the space and the site for that, so I'm going to get some help with that. I'm not good with technology. Next couple of weeks, I hope to be getting blog site up, blogging. I'll link that to my Twitter and my Facebook page. I'm going to open an Instagram, and by Christmas, I want to be doing some podcasting.
Yeah.
So obviously, you'll be one of my guests.
Oh, thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. I gotta go do some interesting stuff in the meantime, but honestly, I'm probably just gonna be working between now and then. But
One more thing. If you ever come to England,
yeah.
you can come here and I'll cook you some Yorkshire puddings.
Oh wow, I will definitely take you up on that, Sam. I've been
You did
watching.
see them, didn't you?
Yeah, your Facebook page, and
Yeah.
I threw a picture of Steve too, so I know what Steve looks like. So
Yeah.
people can check out Sam's author page on Facebook, as well as his Twitter. And once he updates, excuse me, once he gets Instagram and those other websites up and going, I'll add those to the description boxes as well. But Sam, can you just stick around for a sec after
Yep.
we end? I just want to tell you a couple things. Other than
Yeah, no
that,
worries,
thank
mate.
you everyone for watching this episode of Across the Pond with Addy Ads and Samworth. Have